One great question I have in front of me that I thought I might just sort of pass around the room is, what opportunities are there for citizen scientists to kind of assist in the exploration that we do? Not necessarily with the video that we take or the measurements that we provide, but also the mapping data.
There's actually a couple that we're working on right now. One is actually with the video, because video is one of the most difficult sources of data. It's so dense to get actual usable data out of it, and some sort of analysis. So everything that we're seeing right now that makes it back to shore over satellite is being recorded for our YouTube channel. So if people miss the dive, they could actually go to the Nautilus Live YouTube channel and watch the dives or any part of the dive. And then from there, it's going to get ingested into a database that is for video tagging. And this is through the R2R, which is Rolling Deck to Repository group at Columbia University. And so they have a program where they take deep sea video from various sources and then allow the public to sign up for an account and do some really basic logging. That's really helpful for improving our knowledge of the seafloor, but also improving our ability to, in the future, automatically tag things on the seafloor. So they're using people's tags to help generate artificial intelligence type software for basic tags. And so that will really help other people, researchers, scientists, be able to narrow down what they're looking for. And in the future, hopefully be able to auto tag some really common things in the deep sea. Another one that we're working on is related to the samples that we collect. So we collect a lot of biological samples that we can only ID to a very basic level, and it would be helpful for researchers who use our repositories to have a more specific, maybe species level tag, or just a little bit more information that people can help provide that information by looking at the photos that come back from the ROV, from the lab itself, through a program called Open Notes or Open Nature Notes. So we're just starting on both of those initiatives. Neither of those contain Nautilus data yet, but they do contain other deep sea data and samples from other ships. So I think we'll get started on the video one this year, and then hopefully the sample one in future years.
That was really good, Nicole. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I knew that we were putting our entire dives on YouTube, but I didn't know about that citizen science project to actually do video data logging to train machine learning algorithms. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. It was just something that I think Vicky Farini started working on a couple of years ago. And, I think it's a great thing for us to contribute to really accelerate the pace of them being able to generate those algorithms, hopefully. And since, there are a lot of folks on Nautilus Live who want to help us do more science, get more involved, I think that'll be a great way. So it's not up in the R2R video repository yet, but it will be. And that's called, I think it's called Ocean Video Lab. I'll have to look it up to get the exact name, though.
If we wait 5 minutes, I think somebody on Nautilus Live will probably have checked it for us and reported back.
Yeah. It is through Rolling Deck to Repository, and Vicky Farini is the person who spearheads it there.
But it's those of you watching on Nautilus Live should be really encouraged by these projects, because my own background is astronomy, and we have a few of these citizen science projects, and it's amazing how meaningful they can be. They really can contribute to frontline research, and the effort that people spend is really valuable, because I'm sure it's the same in oceanography as well. We're all committed to about anywhere between 110 and 150% of our available time, and so the effort that people put in sort of classifying these images can be a really valuable resource.
Very true.
That's what I was looking at.
So for those of you watching on Nautilus Live, or maybe just joining us this morning, just let me provide you with a quick update on where we are in the world and what we're doing. Our vehicles are currently descending through the water column to the Seacliff hydrothermal vent site, about 2,700 meters under the ocean. This whole site is part of the Gorda Ridge marine feature. This is where the Gorda and the Pacific tectonic plates meet. The Nautilus is physically located about 180 kilometers off the west coast of North America, just where Oregon meets California. So if you, in your mind's eye, you can go from that global scale to zoom down through a picture of the Nautilus and then dive under the ocean with us and see the vehicles descending. We'll be in what we call this blue water phase for anywhere up to the next hour or so. That's approximately.
Let's see, we are about 30 minutes or so.
Okay, even better. We really seem to zip up and down these days at this site.
We can go down a lot quicker than we can go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, given that we're positively buoyant normally.
It's to do with the thruster wash kind of hitting the vehicle when we come up.
Yes,
and,
I do remember that
for
point.
Our sides boxes and some of those things kind of, get in the way of the thruster wash, which kind of slows us down as far as coming up. So we have to be really light to come up fast.
Right.
But too light to be comfortable for diving operations.
Yes.
But then we can be pretty light, and Herc pushes down quite well.
Right.
But so that's why we can kind of go down a little quicker. And we are seeing a little bit of action, and like when we see those big swells, that all translates down to our tether right now.
Yep.
So we do want to make sure we're not going down too quick, or trying to find a spot where it's mostly stable.
Yep.
But it's interesting when you feel those waves, and then I look up, you can just see the tether move relative to that wave motion. It's all translated down there.
I remember you explaining that on an earlier dive, how you kind of try and keep just the right amount of tension on the tether between Hercules and Argus so that you kind of minimize that S wave that gets propagated along it.
Yeah, and right now, because we are still seeing a bit of swell from the last several days of bad weather, we're seeing a little bit more of that. But we're hoping, crossing our fingers, that the forecast is correct and it'll start to settle down starting probably late this afternoon and be pretty good weather for the time that we come back up on a deck.
So just a quick shout out to Sam Wishniak, our communications lead on board the Nautilus. She just sent me a message on Nautilus Live, so I got that, and that's fine. We'll be just fine. So got loads more questions coming in on Nautilus Live, and I always like the ones I don't know the answers to as well, and so let me throw this one out into the room. How do we make drinking water on board the ship? Does anybody know that?
Yeah, we have a little desalination plant on board, but we can only make the water when we're running. We can't do it while we're sitting here on DP.
Okay.
So last day or whatever that we were mapping, we would have been making water.
Right.
Yeah, during that time, sort of keep our stock up. So we take on fresh water for drinking water and stuff in the port stop, so we have tanks that we fill right up. And then we can make some water that's used mostly for like laundry and like that type of thing. There's different tanks for the different types of fresh water.
Yeah, different grades of it.
Yeah, and so so yesterday we would have been making water through a little desalinator down in the engine room.
Do you know how they work? I don't even know how a desalinator works.
It's like a series of filters, like a reverse osmosis sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, and so we basically need to pump it.
Yeah, it's got to be pumped.
That's the deal.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure the specific detail of why we need to be running to do that, but that's just what I'm told.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another great question I've got in front of me that I think will give us a good discussion is, how difficult is it driving the ROVs? How much training do you guys have? I kind of find sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's kind of interesting because, you know, from my perspective, sort of spectating on the front row, I get to see the whole thing because, you know, we welcome ROV interns, you know, on many cruises, and they kind of go through the whole process. It's really neat to see.
Yeah, I guess the short there's a couple answers, I guess, to that. I mean,
you got about half an hour.
I mean, it's sort of, if you think about like when you're learning to drive a car and you go to like a big open parking lot or field or something, like you can go forward, you can turn, you can do whatever you want, and that part is relatively easy. But then, of course, if you get into traffic, it becomes much more difficult, right? And it's sort of similar. Like, you can drive around, and the controls are very intuitive, and once you kind of get used to some muscle memory and how you're moving the joystick and what reacts, you know, it drives around pretty easy. But then if you start to layer in cliff walls, hot vents, you know, tether management, situational awareness, and say you want to do something like sampling, you have to understand all the different things that are pulling on the vehicle, where you want to land it so that the arm is in the right position to do those things, landing softly, not stirring up the seafloor. You know, it gets difficult pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so it takes a lot of experience to get really good at it. I mean, you know, anyone could sit down and drive it around, but, you know, to actually pilot properly, it takes a lot of practice.
Right.
Yeah, many hours to get really good at it.
I thought it was really neat how, you know, you do actually fly with a joystick, but I thought it was neat the basically computer software that from your joystick maneuvers, it then works out which of the set number of thrusters on board to combine to give you that joystick.
That's right.
Movement. That must be pretty helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the inputs are kind of preset what we do here and what the reaction is with the thrusters down at the vehicle. So we have a 3-axis joystick, and then we have another joystick for vertical control. Yeah.
So talking about practice, I'm just going to ask you either to confirm or deny this story I heard in the mess the other day. Is it true you basically you were able to pick up an egg with a Craft Predator arm without breaking it?
Well, yeah, that's true. Was able to in 2 ways. It was a lot easier with Jess's tool that she created, which was a really cool little suction cup. She can tell you way more about it, but it was like a little jelly-like suction cup.
Yeah.
And as long as, and we made a little handle for it, and then as long as I didn't push down too hard when I went to pick it up, then it would just adhere to it and pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we did that a few times, and then I was asked to try and do it without it, and I did pick it up for a while, but it's really hard to control the jaw position like really lightly.
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to get it off the deck, but then I did break it after a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the description, jelly-like. It's a jelly-like suction cup. It's very true.
Yeah. So was it made of silicone or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a good time.
That was really cool.
Because yeah, what's the kind of maximum force that you can exert with the manipulator arm?
600 psi at full strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could break a few eggs with that.
You could break an egg. Yeah. And so you can dial down the amount of force.
Right.
And so I had it down basically as low as it would go, but still actually like move the jaws.
Okay.
Like it was, you know, so as light as I could make it and still make it usable to pick the egg up.
Right.
Yeah. But I still broke it.
That would be a neat video to do. We could sort of do Craft Predator cooking videos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crack some eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
That would be fun.
That'd be really
Like it
fun.
if you like shells in your eggs, that's probably
Yeah.
that would be all right.
The real one would be like to get the finesse of like cracking it on the ledge or something.
Okay, now we're like, yeah.
It would master the one-handed egg crack, though.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard.
You'd need a thumb for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a thumb.
I think when we do pre-dives tonight, Josh, you want to bring down
Yeah,
an
is
egg?
that yeah.
I mean, it's not something we've done on our dives, and but I have heard, you know, in the myths and legends surrounding deep ROV operations, that eggs have been taken down to hydrothermal vents before to see if you can do some nice hard-boiled eggs at hydrothermal vents.
Oh.
And the answer is yes.
Oh.
And they come back pretty sulfury tasting.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Tasting.
did you
How
eat
did they
one?
not crack?
Like,
That was a really interesting question a number of us had, and they
yeah,
don't
they
crack.
did. They don't crack.
Yeah.
But they will pull in that sulfur through the shell, and it's
Yeah.
like sulfur on the inside once you bring
Ew.
it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rotten egg right there.
That's gross.
Yes.
John, did you eat
Rotten
one?
egg on egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You didn't eat some, did you?
Did you
Oh
eat
no,
it?
no! I told you this is just myths and
Oh.
No,
legends
myths.
that,
Okay, good.
that pass
Let's
around
dispel
the
that
mess deck
myth
at
right
night.
now. Say that we do not.
No, we don't
Eat
do
those.
that. But
It's gross.
That would be your sulfur intake for the year.
well, what I found was incredible. I went to visit Sean down in his lab after one of the early dives we did when he was processing some of the vent fluid from the IGTs, the isobaric gas tight samplers, and you know, it's amazing when you see him take the water out of the IGT into a sample vessel. You can see all the gases start to bubble out as it's released to surface pressure, and the whole room stank of hydrogen sulfide.
I'm going to back off a little bit on the forward thrust because we're
Okay.
approaching that wall there.
Sure.
See if we can swing back to underneath the ship more.
So rather like the Monty Python sketch where we're learning about the load carrying capacity of various species of swallow, I'm learning about, from Nautilus Live at the moment, the braking force required to break an egg. I have a lot of contributors. Apparently it's anywhere between 5 pounds and 50 pounds of force, but I'm not sure whether that easily translates into a pressure figure.
If we get a duck egg, now maybe we could deal with that. They're a lot stronger.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I didn't
way
know
thicker
that.
shell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
You really got to give them a whack on the pan to
Really?
get those to break. Yeah.
What about little quail eggs, like the little itty bitty?
Brown
Those
eggs
seem
too
pretty fragile.
are a lot. Always seem a lot harder.
Really?
Yeah.
Little rocks.
They'll have to
I
do a
think.
little experiment there. Do some
Yeah,
science on
we're
that.
going to have to do
Just
some C4
Bring
science.
a bunch of different eggs and
Yeah.
see which one.
Yeah, I like it.
A little pressure sensor that you just like hit it on there and then
Yeah.
take a measurement.
That'd be cool, like a strain sensor that you lace
Yeah.
around the egg, and then you can see what the. Yeah.
I was thinking on the edge of what you would hit it against.
Oh, yeah, impact force. I like it. Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Definitely need to film this one. All the egg. Robotic egg test.
I think there was a video released by, it was like some automation, robot automation, that it was trying to make brownies, and it was just had a programmed path and a programmed set of instructions as to what to do, and it had to make brownies. I think this is out of the Media Lab.
Uh-huh.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And yeah, and so you have this, no-headed, two-armed robot just
Making brownies.
brownies. Or maybe it had a
Did it
screen
work?
for a face. I don't. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if they ate it.
Well, you're going to have to taste them.
Yeah, to taste them.
If it's actually a brownie or not.
It's actually a brownie. Hydraulic fluid stuck in it somewhere.
Or eggshell.
Yeah. Ugh.
Did they manage to compute kind of an effective age for the robot in terms of its cooking ability? Because I know with early experiments with my own family, yeah, it was. I can imagine the robot doing a little bit better. I ended up wearing some of our early efforts.
There you go.
So Jess, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Just a few moments ago, you mentioned approaching a wall. And I was just wondering what you meant by that.
Oh, we're just, as we're kind of diving down, we get some, as you can see, the vehicles are kind of stretched out, and I put on some forward thrust so that they don't get this big catenary in the tether.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of pulling the vehicles a little bit towards this larger feature. You don't want to come on top, you don't want to come down on top of the feature.
Right, so you're using basically our seafloor map to sort of to plot where your landing zone is.
Right.
Even though we're a few hundred meters above it. So
right.
You're just adjusting prior to us getting down there.
Right, exactly. Just so that I can, if I relieve a little bit of this tension between Herc and Argus, it allows Argus to kind of swing back underneath the ship a bit more.
Right.
And then so Herc will also follow that movement as well.
That's what Josh was referring to as situational awareness.
Absolutely.
It's funny of the analogies you made, Josh, because I actually got my driving license in Chile in South America, and we started off in the parking lot.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. Because my instructor looked at my driving skills at the time and said, "You're not going to make it on the roads. We need to." All of this not crossing your hands business and using the handbrake, that's not going to help you survive out there.
Well, we kind of do a similar thing. Like a lot of times we try and get people in the Herc seat for the first time in an area like a parking lot that's just flat. And there's no real obstacles to worry about too much. Unlike here where you need some more practice because we have walls and vents and things that you need to deal with. So this is a more difficult environment to fly in. So
level, what like game level would this be?
I don't know. I don't know. It's
in terms of underwater features.
Like in terms of like difficulty of obstacle avoidance and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, probably give it a 6 or a 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing here is the chimneys that we're flying around are at best, we've seen about 6 feet high, that kind of level.
Yeah.
At other places, they can be 40 meters high.
They can be, yeah. I've flown around quite a few of those as well.
And
so when you're at the when you're using a two-body system like this, and you want to get Herc to the bottom of a 40-meter tall vent, of course, Argus is now below the top of the vent.
Yeah.
So that enhances the difficulty level and danger level quite a bit.
Yeah, because there's no eye in the sky on Argus.
Well, it usually gets smoked out right in your face with a bunch of black smoke, so you can't really see what's going on very well. So you get obscured vision, and you get, you just got to make sure. It's a navigator puzzle, and trying to figure out where to put the ship most of the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Because often the maps down there are basically visual, right? It's quite rare that we'll have a detailed scale electronic map from sonar mapping or this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know where the vents are, and after a while you kind of, they have all these names. You kind of get to know the ones that, you really get to know them.
Roger.
Okay.
Like the more you work around them.
Yep.
Roger,
and some of the features that, and of course they change, but you kind of get to know the difficult spots and where it's a little easier, and they're really fun. I really like working around the big vents like at Endeavour and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite places.
So of course, rating the kind of vents we're at 6 or 7 begs the question, what's 9?
Well, like Endeavour would be like a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And Abyssal Plain is kind of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the parking lot you start at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to take this moment before we reach bottom and are occupied with all these different situations to wish Jess a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday from the lounge.
Thanks, everyone.
Her first birthday at sea.
Yep, I'm turning 1.
Me too.
It's never a bad thing on your birthday to go visit a hot bin.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's a little walk in the park.
Yeah, we can blow out the candle, but that's
There you
a
go.
subsea
Yeah.
candle.
Yeah.
Yeah, subsea candle.
So we'll knock down the candle.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
So of course, for those of you on Nautilus Live, one of the great things about the Nautilus is that there are actually a number of opportunities for people to come and join the ship. One of the best is as an intern, and we offer 4 principal internships as routes to join the ship, as depending upon where you are in your education career. Those are an ROV intern that you heard us talking about a little bit earlier, ocean science intern, navigation intern, and video engineering intern. And Sarah, am I right in remembering that, because you're now a video engineer, but did you begin on the Nautilus as a video engineering intern?
Yeah, last summer.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a great way to start in any of those areas. It's really cool that that's such a big part of Nautilus's mission, is like educating people and kind of branching out the field of people who are, have the expertise in the areas here, and learning and teaching and all that.
Yeah, this is the only ship I've sailed on, but it really strikes me that sharing your experience and sharing your knowledge is a big part of being on the ship.
Yeah, it is. And in all ways, not just in the internships, but just with anybody, like talking in the mess and learning about what they do and their background, and people giving talks about their expertise like you did.
Yep.
So that was, yeah, it's like a floating classroom in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, without the assignments.
Right.
Just different kinds of
Just,
assignments.
yeah.
I did, yeah.
Lots of practical tests.
Speed up a bit.
You know, essays.
Yeah.
Very hands-on.
Yeah. But you obviously enjoyed it. You're back.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I was like, last summer during my internship,
200.
day 1 and 2, I was like, I already know that I want to come back.
Good. No, that's wonderful.
I could just tell.
So where was your cruise last year? Which cruise were you on?
In Hawaii, in the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument.
Nicely said.
Thank you. Thank you.
I usually just stop after Papa. That's it. As far as I can make it.
I was actually learning last night that Bob Ballard actually participated in a cruise out there before the Nautilus existed, to actually dive on the wreck of the USS Yorktown, which was one of the American carriers that was sunk in the Battle of Midway in World War II. It was pretty interesting reading about his experiences there.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting archaeological planes and boats out there.
Oh, really?
I mean, not where we were.
Okay.
But that I know of. But no, more. I mean, closer to the atoll and Midway and yeah, sunken things.
Cool. Sunken things. We like sunken things.
Technically, these are all sunken things.
So Nicole, you want to walk us through which waypoint we're going to be targeting first?
Sure, yeah. They're all in order, so we're going to go to waypoint 1. And so that is the Silate Mat area. So we should be heading uphill from the landing site if we're actually landing on the launch site, which I know there's kind of a cluttered
Launch site's right here.
Yeah, so we'll go uphill from there. And then if we can take a heading of 120 to 160 on the way up, we should cross the site that we're looking for.
Okay.
And we'll keep an eye out, because if we end up in tube worms, then we've gone too far.
Roger.
And we'll turn around and go back.
Okay.
But when we get there, we're going to look for, we're going to do some
slowing
temperature
down.
probes and try to find a site that's between 10 and 50 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And then we'll set up for some IGTs with Sean, and then the supers.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
How far off the bottom are we at the moment?
About 100 meters.
Okay, so pretty close. So that sonar view we have in the top right of the control van, is that what you guys call the high pack?
No.
Okay.
High pack is the map. That's the map underlay, and then we see the vehicles on top of that, and that's kind of how we see the waypoints and things that we know we're trying to head towards.
Okay.
Yeah. So the sonar screen gives us. Yep. Slow down.
Hey guys, I just wanted to update you, and I'm sure the shore team is on top of this, but I think Darlene may have handed me the wrong version of the.
Yeah, we're going to the tube worm
Got
bushes
it.
first now, right?
Yep. All right. So I have the. I just was handed the updated one. So.
Sorry, Nicole.
That's okay.
Version 7 is open on the screen, though. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully, there's another paper copy that can make its way up.
Yeah, I think Julie wanted to get 2 bags and IGTs at the tube worms instead of the ciliate mats, so she flipped them.
Got it. And I do see that on this. Should just cross that out or throw it away.
Do you have a paper copy up there, Nicole? Otherwise, I'll go get one printed.
No, I think it should be in our cabin, maybe. Maybe I printed 3 last night.
Okay, stand by. I'll go look.
All right, thanks.
It looks like we went over the ridge there, or is it just a bad ping?
Come again?
Oh, it's just a bad ping.
So just for you watching on Nautilus Live, just a very quick update as the ROVs have now contacted the seafloor and will be proceeding with our dive operation shortly. We are approximately 2,700 meters under the sea at the Seacliff hydrothermal vent site. We'll be diving here all day. This whole site is part of the Gorda Ridge tectonic boundary between the Gorda and Pacific plates, approximately 180 kilometers off the west coast of North America, just where Oregon meets California. And yeah, you just heard some of the operational discussion there. We've got a full day ahead of us, and so when the ROVs first contact the seafloor, the pilots just have to reset some of the controls for stable operations, if you like, stable flight across the seafloor rather than controlled descent or ascent. So they'll slowly be descending to make visual contact with the seafloor, and then just set up the ROV controls, and then they'll pass the baton, if you like, over to the video engineer, who will just make sure that the video capture is optimized for our location here on the deep sea, and then our dive operations will get underway. So
Zero my Z bias and go down manually. I'm at 4 or 5 altitude. I think we're on a pretty steep slope.
Sure. Yeah, not quite. I'm at about 60 off right now.
All right. Roger.
You want me to stop
Nicole, Zara's on her way up with the annotated version.
there? I'll stop on the winch.
Thanks, Darlene.
It looks like our target. I'm starting to back up towards you a bit.
Okay.
As I come down somewhere.
then I'm going to come to starboard.
Roger. Get you some more slack here.
Okay.
Right,
So let me know when you're ready. I can start turning.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay, it's coming around slowly.
Roger.
Starting to see you in the down cam.
Roger. There we are. Awesome. Shall we go down together?
Yeah. I think maybe before we go down, we want to take that turnout. It's probably a good spot to do it. So I think you want to turn. We had a port wrap, so I think let's do that.
So starboard.
No, you want to come to port because remember you came around to starboard.
Roger.
Initially, so let's do a port turn.
Right.
Even though that's going to put it'll put a wrap in our tether, but that's expected. And I'm not going to take it out. Like, I'm not going to zero the wraps again.
Okay. I see we're undoing what we did the other
Yeah,
dive.
yeah. Might want to come up just a little bit. Or I can come down. I'll come down.
Right. Look happier to you? Let's see.
Yeah, seems fine. Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, paying out.
Roger, coming down. Hey, video, you want to come full Y on Herc there?
Yeah.
I guess I got some
There you
arm
are.
cleanup to do there as well when we get down there.
No. Now, what will be our bearing to waypoint 1?
Bearing to waypoint 1, your current position is at 097.
097, roger. All right, bottom's in sight.
Oh, roger. You might have to slide over.
Yeah.
I'll stop on the winch for a moment.
Roger.
I'll get the arm out of the way.
Okay. She's slow this morning.
Yeah, you can go down a little more. You're 20 off still.
Yeah.
Down there, make sure that Alex gets his source set up right before we do the auto XY stuff.
Roger. Right on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Come down. What is our delta? 22. I'll come
23.
down a little bit.
Roger. Looks like we have that ridge right here,
Yeah, right in front of us. Yeah.
right in front of us, and right to the left. Actually, we'll come right on top of a.
Yeah, a little chimney there. Okay, I'll stop
So
there.
Let's get it on this
I
side.
can do this part if you want.
I'm gonna back up over this way. Alex, let me know before so I can just make sure I'm out of my autos.
Copy.
Ready for this part?
Yep.
Is your camera all the way back?
Negative.
Yeah.
Turn off the porch. Actually, you want
yeah,
them
leave it
huh?
on. Probably, and the downlights there. Probably the porch off and the downlights on.
Roger.
Yeah.
Ready
Yeah, you
to
can zoom in and up.
We are full zoom.
You want me to center that up a bit more?
I can get it.
Roger.
All right.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And we will be black for a second.
Roger.
Roger.
Just go back to the hydraulic screen just in case.
Yep.
Keep an eye on bubble.
And once more.
Roger.
Okay. Zooming out now.
Roger.
Right.
Full zoom. Full wide, I mean.
I'm just gonna go play with my Z biases real quick. Actually, come down. Go ahead.
Just come down a little more closer to the seafloor and we'll get the, make sure we're sorted out.
Roger, thank you. I'm trying to face these vents here.
Yeah. You can slide over this way too. You're kind of like stretched out to the side. So you can lateral.
Roger.
Just go down a little more. Oh, like you're pretty high up the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So just come down, then we'll play with our
Z biases.
Okay, cool. All right, let's check our auto stuff and then we'll be ready to go after that.
I'm gonna work on my Z bias a little bit.
Yeah. Ship's moving around pretty good.
Yeah. 18 wind. Alright, she seems pretty alright with
Yeah.
the Z bias here.
Yeah.
Alright, time for some autos.
So now if you turn auto-XY off, and then if you just hit all three of these at the same time.
Wasn't it before when we hit auto heading at the beginning?
It wasn't set over there properly yet before we did
Oh.
that. You wouldn't have the right source on, so that's why we're messed up.
That's right.
So now that looks,
That looks pretty happy.
yeah, that looks pretty good.
Alright.
Yep. All right, I think we're
So
ready.
ready to move?
Yep.
Awesome. Do you mind if I punch in just past the corners on Herc?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Her
There we
target
go.
bearing is at 081.
081, roger. Alright, sounds good. Um, 081. And then, alright.
Yeah, so remember, we want to keep the ship to the west of that waypoint.
Yeah, what do you think, like near Chimney 2 waypoint or something?
Yeah, just kind of judge where we're laid back, like it's,
Maybe a little bit.
Waypoint 2, where's
maybe,
waypoint 2?
Maybe in between the
Oh,
chimney
there.
2 and diffuse flow waypoint.
Yeah, diffuse flow
Yeah.
is, I want to go much further east of diffuse flow.
Okay.
Keep the
with,
ship
with
around
the
here.
ship, yeah.
Copy.
And then if we need to make little movements after that, then we can do that. I just don't want to, we kind of overshot the last time. I don't want to go through that again.
Copy.
So what are you thinking for a ship move?
I'll move the ship 20 meters at 125.
Sounds good, I think.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
Bridge nav. Yeah, 20 meters at bearing 125.
Pen.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nicole, are any of these vents ones that we sampled on the high temperature dive?
Yeah, maybe. I think we did the temp probe up this ridge. Yes. Yep.
There's definitely a lot of flow coming out on the ridge on the left.
Yeah. Right in the middle of the flow too.
Did we intend to land right here?
Yep, we wanted to climb up the ridge, yeah.
Awesome. So what are our next couple goals then?
We're actually going for the two-worm bushes, which is the diffuse flow sampling site, labeled waypoint 1 on the HIPAC map.
Okay.
So we're looking for an area that's 10 to 50 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So
Do we have any guesses on how hot these vents that we're
2.
looking at right now?
These are the really high temperature ones, so these are the ones that were as high as 300 degrees
Wow.
the other day. Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
So Alex, keep another ship move on, I think.
Copy. 10 meters.
I would do a measure from, I guess, where you are. You want to be somewhere before the just before the diffuse flow site, maybe?
Right.
Yeah,
Right
so
before.
you could probably do maybe another 20,
20.
I think. Yeah.
Let's do 20 at bearing 105.
Sounds good.
Bridge nav. Yeah, 20 meters at bearing 105.
Yeah, the last time we dove, we were exploring these vents for the temperature, and we had the contest on the ship of what the highest temperature would be without going over in the captain one. He was so excited about it. I think it made all our days just how excited he was.
That's awesome.
So we got a NASA sticker. That was the prize.
We have a lot of viewers wondering if the high temperatures can damage the ROVs.
Melt stuff if you sit on it.
Yeah, I mean, you move a couple centimeters and the temperature comes right down. So where the ROVs are relative to the hot water is we're perfectly safe there. Yeah. So not a real threat to the vehicles.
Yeah, we were trying to be extra careful with Eric's super wand that he had because I think he was saying he couldn't go much over 120.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep well below that so that we didn't melt it.
If you get a chance, can you just bring the gains down on both the mesos? They're really high right now.
Yeah.
Especially Argus. So you click on put the cursor on there and then just hit a couple gain down.
See if that did this on here.
Yeah, maybe one up.
One up.
Speed up, yeah, okay. Yeah, go one up on the gain on Argus, maybe.
Alright, let's see how that one looks.
Okay, so yeah, give that a few spins around. It looks a little better.
If I increase the scan speed, it kind of looks a little smeary, but how's the ship doing? 18 knots speed.
Yes. Wind at 18 knots. Keep the ship where it is.
How far is the distance from the...
Yeah, what's the difference between diffuse flow and waypoint 1? Or the edge of the ship? Ooh,
that's
fun.
interesting.
20 meters.
I think we can probably do another 10-meter move.
10-meter move. Data lab standby.
Stand by.
Come again, Herc.
Alright, and then